Hey, I know I haven't recorded in a while, but I was busy with work last week, so I guess this is gonna be the next one. Today is gonna be doing some axe position 3. I know people have been asking for position 5s, but I'm working on it. As axe, the only real things that you need to know before you get into a game are mainly about aggroing off the enemy heroes. So if you're playing axe, what you gotta understand is that when you right click an enemy hero, the creeps are gonna follow you like this and they're gonna attack you. So very important that you know how to do this and then quickly go somewhere else. Um, it's a critical skill because your E counter helix, it gives you a 20% chance to do a spin anytime an enemy hero or creep is attacking you. So you see, when I have multiple creeps attacking me, I'm going to be spinning more often, and it just does some AoE pure damage around you, and it has a small internal cooldown, so you don't just spin like 100 times in a row, obviously. Now, the reason this is important is because this is your farming spell and your fighting spell, and later on when you core people, you're going to be doing damage with this. Your core is a small AoE. When you use it, everything around you in this area is just it's gonna be forced to hit you, and also you gain 30 armor for the duration, which is 2 seconds, scaling up to 3.2 seconds. Now this is obviously pretty useful. It's a disable. It stops you from casting their spells, and then obviously has synergy with your E, since it makes them take a lot of damage from fighting you. I'm just gonna turn the sound down a little bit. Your W is just a single target active, and you press it and it gives them a debuff, and they take 12 seconds of damage, and you gain a movement speed bonus for every battle hunger you have out. So if you have multiple out, you're going to move faster and they're all going to get slowed. And the thing about this spell is that it gets dispelled if the person battle hunger gets a last hit or kills a hero. So you're mainly going to be wanting to use this on heroes running away from you. You know, they don't have anything to last it. Or you could use it on supports during the laning stage, because supports can't last it, obviously. They can deny it, which will also remove it, but you can also use it at level 1, because there are no creeps at level 1, so it will always do however much damage it does, 16 times 12. And the movement speed change is quite nice, because it both slows them and speeds you up. Automatos is your culling blade. Press it, and if they're below the threshold 250, they will instantly die, whether it's hero or creep, and you will gain an AoE buff around your hero, move speed, attack speed. This will go through Lincoln's, BKB, Shallow Grave, anything. If you hit them with it, they will fucking die. So, but if you whiff, like for example, if you use it on a hero that's not below 250 health, see, it's just going to do like a little bit of damage. And if you use it on creeps, it goes on cooldown. I'll show you the free spells thing. It goes on cooldown. But if you successfully dunk someone, see it refreshes the cooldown basically. You have no cooldown if you dunk someone, dunk a hero successfully. So those are all the things that you need to know as axe before we head into this replay. Axe is almost always played as a position 3, by the way, just because of his strong laning, and also the fact later on he's going to be buying Blade Mail and initiating on people. Blink and Blade Mail, I mean to say. Obviously Blade Mail is really strong on this hero because you force people to attack you, and you won't die yourself because of the big armor increase when you use your Q. So on Axe, it is another hero that predominantly wants to cut creeps and is not really a big fan of just laning normally. So you want to start your Stout Shield, obviously, your 6 Tangos, your Salve, and 2 Iron Branches, and both these branches are going to be used on your Tangos to make it 8 Tangos. I already explained once why the 2 Tangos are better than 3 Tangos usually, but in case you missed it, it gives you 1 less Tango, but it gives you 2 stats, which is really nice for trading hits and getting last hits. Now, I almost always level my counter helix first, even in a situation like this where the Battle Hunger is always going to get full duration. Just because I think the spell is so useful actually, just for playing the level 1 and farming. See, like whenever you're getting attacked like this, you want to make sure you stand near the heroes that are attacking you, just so you can get some counter helix procs. See, there's Windrunner, Wind runs onto me, so I'm thinking, you know, she has no spell for 10 seconds, we can try and run her down. And Axe has pretty good move speed actually, so I think we get this kill here. So that's a nice kill, and you see the benefit of another benefit of Axe is that he has 5.4 regen, so you can trade pretty aggressively at level 1 just because of you have, you know, so much regen. Even if you take more damage than you give, generally speaking, by the time the lane starts, you're going to be full health. Now I'm just going to show you player perspective for a second. You can see that as soon as the lane starts, you want to aggro the creeps off the enemy safe laner, and then you want to be last hitting all of this if you can. Now the secret to this is that you need to calculate, you need to realize when you are going to spin, and you want to last hit corner. Like for example here, I think because there's so many creeps attacking me, I know I'm going to spin, so I know these 2 creeps are going to be low, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to hit this creep after my spin. But generally speaking, you just want to aggro the creeps. If they're melee core, it's even better because then they have to take damage standing in you. Now at level 2, you want to walk past the wave because you push out with the spin, and then you want to run at the enemy support who tries to contest you like this. He gets a lucky deny there, usually that won't happen, but you try and get around a little bit like that, and then at minute 1 you can go into here to get your level 1. There's a lot of creeps here basically, and I'm getting a lot of spins, because when there are so many creeps attacking you, you'll basically spin off cooldown. You'll get level 2 from that camp, level your Battle Hunger the Grimstroke off the lane. Obviously I'm playing very aggressive because I've already seen the E from the Grimstroke, so I know he's not going to have a spell that's going to nuke me out very easily. You can see the Alchemist is kind of split between 2 minds. He wants to defend this tower from these creeps, and he also wants to come contest my farm. Obviously he's always going to choose his creeps. What this means is the Grimstroke is going to be kind of stuck in no man's land here. Now when you're down to 2 tangos, make sure you use your Iron Branch, don't forget that. It'll give you double regen. Most jungle camps do not proc, like these creeps will not fight these creeps, but it's actually fine on Axe because you're going to be spinning anyway. It's fine if this range creep stays here because it only does 21 damage anyway and you have a stout shield, but sometimes I like to Battle Hunger it like this just so it walks up a little bit. But yeah, you see I'm quite low, but at the same time, if the Grimstroke were to come try and fight me, I can always just Battle Hunger him, and my Rubik can also help me. Then he's still level 1 because he's going to be choked on XP, and if they do play with their carry over here, then you know, it's still not a big deal because then their carry splitting XP. So you see here, I see the carry walk towards me. I know he's missing a bunch of CS on the tower, like I even check it like that, but you can always use the Battle Hunger to run away as fast as you can. Now around this time you can have a lot of gold. I have 28 last hits a minute. 245, which is an absurd amount. You buy your Ring of Health from the secret shop. You want to do this every game you can. The skill build is you continue to max your counter helix, obviously, because this spell is going to be your farming tool. You can ask for a tank off your support like I did there. Buy my Magic Stick, buy my Quelling Blade, because you're not going to be laning in the early stage as Axe anyway, so you don't need these items, but for maybe 1 or 2 waves you're going to have to play normally here. So you see, like anytime the Alchemist, just trying to deny against the Acid Spray, which is not so easy as you can see, but get to there. But you generally just want to be standing near creeps when they're hitting you and the counter healers. You see like getting a lot of last hits, and then you want to Battle Hunger carries when they are stuck in positions like this where they can't last hit. But you can see like I'm holding my attacks a lot, making sure I don't let Battle Hunger mess up my own last hits. This is like same as Caustic Finale, Razor's passive. You just want to calculate for your own passive, make sure you don't ruin your own last hits. Level 4, I level my Q, get a 2-man call. It's just a little bit of harass, not a big deal. He actually levels his stun here, which is why I run away, but yeah. And then I throw a Battle Hunger on him afterwards because obviously he's really low, so he's going to be wanting to come. He won't be able to come to lane to last hit, and if he gets a salve off the courier at this moment, he's still going to be unable to use it for however many seconds, 12 seconds. And if he tangos, it's going to pretty much counteract the tango regen, which is, again, it's just things that are going to keep him off the lane. So as you can see, he salves there. Just continue to last hit. I'm going to buy my boots here. At minute 4, 20, 23, 22, this is your inventory. This is what you should have. You should have Ring of Health, your Quelling Blade, your stick. You can see here, this is something I do. You know, the aggro actually has no range. It's global. You can aggro off creep heroes in other lanes. So just for another example, this is a skill that you want to be doing sometimes. Like when I drag the creeps over here like this, I actually don't have vision of any enemy heroes right now on my lane, so I actually pan my camera bot really quickly just to aggro off the Miranda, just so I can last hit these creeps a little bit faster. So that's something you can practice. There are obviously hotkeys to snap your camera back and forth, but I don't usually use those. It's not a big deal for me. So I'm just gonna... The reason I didn't cut into jungle there is because I know I'm slightly low, and I know the Grimstroke has a few spells, so I don't really want to be playing too stationary. And the reason I'm aggroing off here is because I want to kill the Grimstroke here. I call him. I know both his spells are on cooldown, so I'm going to play pretty aggressive even though he's on his shrine. And I know I'm so fast with the Battle Hunger changing the move speed and the fact I have boots and he doesn't. Well, he has no items, literally. And I'm just going to chase him down here because Grimstroke's Q does not hit directly in front of him. So if you actually hug him, like you see, it doesn't actually hit in front of him. So against Grimstroke, his axe, or any offlaner that plays aggressive, you want to just run into them. Sometimes, obviously, you'll get situations where you have to play a little bit against the run-of-the-mill. Like here, I saw that there was a gank opportunity at mid, so I'm going to come mid to get an easy kill. And we're going to go shrine anyway at minute 5 always. The reason I played so aggressive and dragged the creeps away, as well as keeping myself safe with my high move speed, is also to make sure my Rubik can take double runes, just buying him some space. Make sure you use your shrine at minute 5 because it's free regen. If you don't use it, then it's basically wasting cooldown. Minute 6 I 42 last hits, which is very good, 102. See, whenever I'm last hitting these creeps, I make sure I run into the range of the melee, the range creeps, while the melee creeps are hitting me, just so I can spin a little bit faster. Whenever you can, you want to run over him by your Vanguard. This is basically going to make you invulnerable for the next, you know, probably 5-6 minutes of the game at the very least. No one can really kill you through a Vanguard at minute 6. So I buy my TP scrolls. That's something you should keep a habit of, just having some TP scrolls. I see that my Rubik's in a little bit of trouble here, so I'm just going to help him hit this bug off himself. And even though it's a 2v3 lane, I'm not really that worried about the situation because I know I have my Vanguard, so it's going to take them... Like, you see, this is a DD Windrunner that's hitting me, and she's still not doing much damage. I actually ping her here to try and kill her. She Windruns away. So I'm going to try it on this Auk. This Auk is level 6, so it's going to be a really hard kill. But what I can do is harass him so much that he's forced to ult. And if he is forced to ult, because of the new changes, Auk doesn't get any mana regen. It's just a waste of mana for him. Which is nice, obviously. My Oracle actually shows up to kill this Grim, but as you can see, with the Vanguard, you can play really aggressive. Like, you can dive on the tower. I missed my core there. The range is really small and the cast animation is quite long, so you should use it like a Centaur stun where you give yourself quite a lot of leeway. But if you're getting juked in trees like this as Axe, you can just run around and the spins will usually take care of people. Also, keep in mind that towers will not proc spin, so if you're against a 1 HP carry and you want to proc a spin off the tower to kill him with, that's not going to work. But you can see the Battle Fury... Not the Battle Fury, Battle Hunger move speed difference just lets you catch up to people and call them. And it's especially good if you can keep some creeps on you, because obviously that's going to increase your chances of spinning. A little bit of a Quelling Blade shortcut there just saves me 1 second of walking. That's something you can do as any hero. And right now, instead of cutting, because I have quite a lot of time and I'm tanky, I'm just going to farm this normally because I don't want to give Alchemist... The point of cutting is you want to outfarm them, right, by farming 2 camps at once, and you also want to pressure them by putting the creeps under the tower. In this situation, I'm already level 6, I'm already really strong with my Vanguard, I want to play the lane right now, so I'm not going to cut. And the fact is, I can actually jungle so fast that I can run back to lane, so it's not like I'm going to be missing farm, so it's just a really nice aggressive way to play. So there you see I tried to dunk him, but he was a little bit too high, but it works out anyway. So anyway, as for the build, you continue to max your E, and then after that, after taking a level in your ult, you're going to start to max your Q at this point. As for items, you can see that I've queued up Phase Boots, Raindrop, Mango, just for mana, zero some mana problems, and Windlace. Just having high move speed on this hero is going to do wonders for you. Phase is obviously really strong. I usually get Phase after my Vanguard, just because of the utility of the Vanguard. Now, I finish up my phase, but you can see anytime I want to fight people, I'm going to make sure I drag them either to melee creeps, or like lane creeps I suppose, or jungle creeps, just because it's going to increase the chance of spinning so much. So you see here, I'm fighting a mid Lycan right now, and I'm not really that worried because there are so many creeps near me. But if there are no creeps near you, then you basically want to play a lot more defensive. So here, I dunk, I phase boot up, and I like 500 move speed there. So as long as they don't have any reliable stuns, you're going to have a pretty good time. Obviously Axe has like 14 passive regen with the Vanguard, so you don't really need to go back too much as this hero. I see a Mirana here, I see she has 1 leap charge. The chasing power of this hero is so ridiculous. I look at my move speed right now, it's 500 almost, 490. You see I pump fake the Q there because I know it's not going to land because of the animation. Core people win. Click on the enemy hero like I did there just to check their HP, see if it's under 250 or not. There's also a console command which makes the bars 200 HP, so if they're on last bar you can instant call them, but I don't find that useful. You can see like I'm just generally trying to play near creeps. Like even when I call this, I make sure the centaurs are called as well, just so they can hit me for a little bit of extra move speed. Obviously you want to dunk whenever you can, whenever mana allows it, just because it's going to speed up the kill a lot, and also the buff is also quite nice. Make sure you don't stack your stuns. See when the DK stunned him there, I actually cancel my Q just so I can we can have a little bit more disable on them. Now generally speaking at this point, you want to be pushing down the tier 2 tower, the tier 1 tower with the catapult, either minute 10 or minute 5, just tanking for it with your Vanguard and all your items. Usually your next item right now would be a blink, and also you want to make sure you don't die, because if I check the net worth right now, I'm probably by far #1. Yeah, so if you die, you're going to lose a lot of this lead, which is not great, especially against Alchemist, who will get a lot of gold for your kill. It would probably be like 1,500 gold or something like that. But see, but you can play very aggressive against teams that lack stuns, because they're not going to do much damage to you anyway. Like, you can see with the core, you just want to make sure that you leave yourself plenty of space. I actually missed my dunk there, but it doesn't end up mattering because I got a lucky spin on them. Lots of things here, lots of units. I can't really help my Oracle because I don't have mana for core. This hero's mana hungry, like I said before, but as soon as I had mana for it, I just call him, and then later on you can actually just chase him down. Axe actually does quite a lot of damage with phase boots, like 100 damage, and your attack speed is okay. And at level 10 you want to take this attack speed talent pretty much always, because 8 strength is not that useful. It's going to give you 8 damage, 160 health. Axe doesn't really need that big of a health pool. You usually beat people in trades with the blade mill or blink anyway. The attack speed helps you farm, and it gives you a way to do damage that doesn't involve having creeps near you or blinking. But yeah, I have a big cash stack. I think this game I actually go for Radiance or something. But here I should have stacked the camps. But you know, I was checking scoreboard. But Axe is really good at farming Ancients, so that's something you can do with your Vanguard. You can stack it up a few times and farm it. You can see I'm just going to farm with my spin. Obviously you want to farm lane as much as possible. See, with the attack speed talent, it's actually quite easy to farm on Axe. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I would say. There's only one last thing to show you, really. See, I get that kill there, and then you just want to be constantly spamming your phase boots out. So the only other thing I would say, and it is a major part of Axe gameplay that was not shown just because of how far ahead I was that game, but you should be that far ahead if you play the way I described, where you cut creeps with your level 1 Helix. The only other real thing to think about is, like, if you have your blink and your blade mill. I'm going to show you the item progression right now. Actually, I'm going to show you the skill progression and the item progression now that you know what the early game should look like, and I'm just going to describe the mid game to you because it didn't happen in that game. This is the skill build. I'm going to level up manually because I think when you press level to max, it automatically skills all your spells. Level 1, count Helix. Reason is simple. You can also go Battle Hunger if you want to fight. It's sometimes good against ranged carries because the counter helix isn't going to be too relevant. But without the counter helix, it's really hard to push out the lane level 1 in order to force a creep cut situation. Level 2, almost always Battle Hunger. This is what's going to push the pulse 5 off the lane when you creep cut. Sometimes it's okay to level Q if it gets you a kill on a melee support or a melee core. Remember, it also gives you 30 armor, so you can use it while running away or whatever. But usually you just want level W. Next is your E again. Obviously your best scaling spell. It goes from 60 to 100 damage, lowers the cooldown a little bit, not a big deal, but whatever. Helps you farm. Next spell, Q. Just because this W doesn't really scale that well, it gives you a little bit more damage, but it doesn't change the move speed, and you're not going to really be spamming it because you don't have mana for that. The Q is just useful if people get in too close on you, or you need to run away for that 30 armor buff for 2 seconds. It's just a nice spell to have. It cancels TPs, access no TP cancels in the early game. Next, E again, R, E. Then you go Q, Q, and this will take you to level 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 you get nothing obviously. 15 I take this move speed over this mana regen usually, just because it's obviously move speed is very important on Axe. This mana regen is sometimes okay, but usually if you buy Clarities, Raindrops and stuff like that, you're not going to really need it that much. Obviously you'll take this at 18 at some point. I will take this talent, and I'm going to explain why in a second. This doesn't really matter, I usually take this one just for a little bit of extra range. Now, a lot of people like to take the 25 health regen at level 20 because they think this left talent is a bit of a joke. Well, the main reason people think it's a bit of a joke is because Axe is a tank, right? So you don't really want to be taking this talent that relies on your attack speed when you don't buy any attack speed items. Well, firstly, you already have that 40 attack speed talent, which I take. Not everyone takes it, but the 8 strength I really don't think is that strong. You actually hit quite fast, you can see. And then when you do land the Helix, if you think about it, worst case scenario, you hit one person with a Helix once when you call, right? That's worst case scenario. Because usually you're going to get like 4 or 5 attacks off. It's not unreasonable to say you're going to spin them once. That's going to do 180 damage. If you think about how long you need to survive for in a fight in order to heal 180 damage. I know this is not a perfect analogy, but assuming Axe uses all his health to blade mail anyway, you basically need to survive like 8 seconds in a fight or something like that, which is kind of ridiculous. And most of the time, you're going to be hitting multiple people with counter helix when you spin them. When you call them, most of the time you're actually going to get more attacks off of this than just one. Like you get 2 or 3, and that's just going to make sure your enemies die. You don't need health if your enemy are all dead. And the level 25 is kind of a toss-up. They're both pretty good actually. 120 Battle Hunger DPS is pretty good in the late game when no one's fighting near any creeps. However, everyone's going to have Mantas and Lotuses and Glimmers and fucking Yules. So, you know, to each their own. This is pretty good. Now, as for the item build, I'm going to be including item timings this time because I think that's something you need to keep in mind. I haven't included this on heroes in the past, but I think it's really important. I think having a good idea of item timings, if you're falling behind, that's an indication that you need to calm down and just farm for a bit, because if playing behind your item timings, it's going to be really hard to play. On the other hand, if you are farming really fast, that usually means that you can spend a little bit of time to walk around the map pointlessly and try to help your team a little bit. But it's just going to help you keep you in check. You don't want to be AFK farming too much, leaving your team for dead. You don't want to be AFK feeding too much and having no items and no game impact. Well, level 1 obviously is start 2 of these, and then that is going to be your basic supplies. At around minute 230 to minute 3, you want to be buying this Ring of Hell from the secret shop, and you want to be buying it after you finish killing a creep wave so you don't miss the next one. Next, you want to buy Quelling Blade and Magic Stick from the side shop after you walk back to lane. You're usually going to have about 1,200 gold. You can usually buy all of this. If you can't, then skip the Magic Stick. Next, I'm just going to assume you used all these supplies, obviously. Next up, whenever you have an opportunity, it's usually at minute 5 when you take the bounty runes. You want to buy the brown boots. It's just going to give you a little bit of move speed. You don't really need movement speed in the early game as Axe, but later on you do. Whenever you can, and after you finish killing a wave, obviously, finish your Vanguard. Then ship your phase boots off the courier along with infused raindrop. It's going to help fix your mana problems a little bit, maybe 2 clarities, and finish your magic wand. After that, these are all around the, I would say, 8 to 10 minute mark. it's okay if it comes a little bit later. The phase and the wand should be around minute 11. Then at around minute 14 to 15, could be earlier, you buy your blink. Then you play as any blink hero does. You know, you can blink into a carry's lane when they're farming creeps like this. You can core the creeps and you're going to get a lot of spins on them, and you can dunk them, and that's going to make them, you know, not want to farm like that. You can use it to play behind them so that when a lot of heroes are going on one hero, especially with a bunch of melee heroes, you jump in and you core. But the blink is just really useful. It helps you initiate, lets you get in so you can queue. Just remember it's quite a long animation, so if people are really fast, they can use you up or something like that. Next up is you can either upgrade into Crimson Guard, like if you're facing a lot of enemy units, just because you already have the Vanguard, you know. But most of the time, you want to be buying the BKB, and the reason for that is because a lot of people buy Euls to counter Axe, because while you're up in the air, you're not going to be doing any spins, you're not going to be doing any damage. Now, this is kind of when in a situation where there is no enemy carry that does a lot of damage, because if there is, one item you can buy before that is Blade Mail. Now, Blade Mail is actually quite overrated on Axe. People seem to think that this is an always item. It's not really. It's just usually good. Basically, you want to core a carrier that does a lot of damage, and you want to Blade Mail at the same time, just so they're forced to hit you. If it's some agi carry like Jug or something, they're going to hit really hard, especially with Maelstrom. It's going to reflect everything. So it's a pretty good item. It gives you a bit of int as well. But after that, it's always BKB. People buy really stupid items like Heart and Shivers, Shadow Blade. Just buy your BKB. The Blade Mail should come around minute 18. The BKB should be around 25, 26. And then after that, it's all luxury items, Shivers, Heart. Like, it doesn't really matter in the late game what you buy. I like to buy Mjolnir. I would like to put the passive on myself. It helps with my level 20 left talent. Shadow Blade is also pretty decent. You know, it's just an initiation tool, gives you a bit of move speed. I like to upgrade these into Boots of Travels at some point, because obviously the aforementioned mana problems, and also Axe likes to play quite mobile around the map. And one item that's quite interesting is Manta Star, because with the level 20 talent, the Manta Illusions can actually proc the spin, so you can use these to like farm lanes with, and it's just kind of a, it's not really like a really strong build, but it's kind of funny and it's not that bad. Apart from that, it's like just Cypher Vice is pretty good. Obviously there's a little bit of anti-synergy because you want them to be hitting you during the core. Lotus Orb is obviously fine on most offlaners in the game, Pipe of Insight, but those are in general all the items you want to be buying, and the skill build you want to be doing it. Now, I've already shown you the early game gameplay as Axe. You basically want to be forcing off supports off you by manipulating the creep wave, either by using aggro on enemy creeps, of which you can use global aggro as well, and by standing near range creeps so they die while you're spinning. And in the mid game, you want to be buying your blink and roaming around the map, staying near towers and defending them by calling the attackers and making sure you get the kills and running away with your phase boost and your core move speed. Late game, Axe wants to play in the back lines, or he wants to initiate on the agi carry. You're gonna Blade Mail, you're gonna BKB. The enemy team can't help their team unless they buy an E-Blade or something like that. They can't use you up. The carry is usually gonna rip himself to shreds. Like, let's just say you are playing against a TB, for example. I'm gonna level enemy to max. So so say this is a TB and it's some late game TB. He has a lot of items like a Skadi and a butterfly. I mean, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Let me see if I can pick up my Blade Mail and my blink. So let's use E on Mr. TB. Let's say I find a Terra Blade. I'm going to blink in, I'm going to core, and I'm going to Blade Mail. And you can see he's going to do a lot of damage to himself. Now, the thing is, most carries actually have even more damage than this in the late game, right? Because they usually buy some damage items. Let's just assume he has Daedalus. Like, obviously, it's not really that common. But, you know, the thing is, obviously, I kill myself with the Sunder there. But the thing is, the Blade Mail reflects the damage based on his armor value. So you can see here, I'm doing about 260 damage to him, but I'm not taking 260 damage myself. So like, I'm just gonna core Blade Mail. You can see I'm doing 31 damage back to him, even though I'm clearly not taking 31 damage in this. I have 76% resist, and he only hits for 51. So basically, the idea is you're not going to die during it, but your enemies will. So it is really strong. And make sure you use the dunk at the end as well, just to finish them off. Sometimes you want to bat hunger as well, just want to dunk them. And then you can run away and chase supports, whatever. But that's mainly your job as Axe. So that's pretty much it, I think. Unless you have any questions, in which case leave them in the comments. And the only other thing is that this Axe is fucking horse shit. Never use it, never buy it.